Hey y'all, and welcome to my channel. This is the Lotus Land, and I am Lotus. And let's see. Today, let's first acknowledge the day. The day is February the 15th, um, the day after Valentine's Day. And it's 2023, year of seven. It's a seven numerological universal year. Okay, so all right, logistics done with. Let's see. First of all, let me show some gratitude and appreciation for any and everybody who's been checking out my videos. I've seen a couple of videos that are at up to like 12 views, and I know like in large numbers language that's nothing, but for me I'm like, okay. So just thank y'all for watching and checking stuff out. As you notice, my comments and my likes and all that stuff is really off. I'm not really seeking a lot of interaction right now, to be honest. I'm just seeking to like share and put out and really just take baby steps with building my Lotus Land platform, which in my mind and in my vision is so much bigger than what it is right now. So I'm not looking for much, like, I just gotta be straightforward. I'm not looking for much communication or like back and forth communication, conversation. Not too much, but like if you wanna check me out, listen to what I'm bringing for, then that's all. That's so cool, so dope to me. I really appreciate it. I don't need much more than that right now, though. So if you have been watching my videos, you know that I'm here to typically channel a message, bring forth a message through for others who are like myself, basically in connection with source and spirit and the divine and the frequency of the heart of the earth, of nature, of the cosmos, the stars, of creation, and the origins of creation. So with that, I am inspired to get on today due to some recent events that have occurred in my life, and even including something that happened today. And I just wanted to share. I feel compelled to share as appropriately and as comfortably as possible, because I think it's important. And I know it's important for me in my spiritual journey, so maybe there are others who can relate. So today I feel like I've been introduced in the most clearest way, maybe not in like the first time ever, but I would say in the most clearest way I've been introduced to a calling on my life for myself. And it makes sense. And it's not the first time I've kind of heard this calling on my life and for myself, but I think I think there's been just a lot of things that have happened that has resulted from me not really embracing the call, and really maybe even time just not being the time, not being the time, right? Like it not being yet time for me to do so in the past, but I feel like today it's come through. It's really coming through. I even recently was very compelled to pick up some painting supplies, and typically I'm not a painter. I'm artistic, but I'm not a painter. So I will draw, I will write. I won't even really draw for real like that. It would be more like doodling. I'll write for sure. I'm a huge writer. I do music, a little bit of singing, some rapping. I've done poetry. I did drawing when I was very young, like 12, 13, 11. No older than 13, I want to say. But I haven't painted like in so long, but my heart has been like crying out for some expression via painting. So I did pick up some painting supplies just like last week, and today was the first time I used any of them. And what got me to use them was this compelling feeling of kind of I guess putting a visual to the call of that I'm embracing now. Um, putting an artistic, original visual to it. I felt compelled to do that. Um, and then I wanted to get on and share on here about that. Now I don't want to share the painting yet because it's not done. But I will share it eventually. But I will today I can share what is the concept of the painting. um I also wanted to share though, like things that have been happening that kind of hasn't really been making me happy, but I know they're very necessary. I don't want to use this space as a place to vent. I just want to share when there are things that I feel like it's like a, I guess you can always learn from anything, which me as a learner, I know that's true. But when I'm talking about something on here, I don't want it to be in the space and frequency of venting, and just unloading. I want more so for it to be possibly helpful to other people. And I know venting can be helpful, but just not that energy. I don't like the energy of venting, you know. Not on here, not on this public platform where anybody can just click your video, start watching, and then just getting all that energy and really reigniting that energy when you really wanted to let it go, and yet now it lives in this video that it can get replayed however many times. Now it's like it's you no longer control it. So I know I want to share about this information. I'm taking my time because, again, I don't want it to be venting. I want to effectively share. And it's related to what has occurred today in terms of this calling that has become very much more clear than ever before, and me embracing it. And so I guess what that looks like for me moving forward. So typically on here, these videos so far have largely often included conversation about my twin flame journey, and me as a twin flame, having identified who I feel is my twin flame currently in my life, but not like my partner. He's not my partner. So obviously that last part there kind of has me still a little sad, right? I'm just gonna be authentic. Has me a little sad because of course I had hopes. Like we've been through some things already. We met last year in July, and or at least maybe started talking in July for real. And we went through some things. We started dating, and I literally broke up. Well, I guess I initiated the breakup like 10 days after we made things official. And you know, I was just trying to be a friend, realized I couldn't be a friend because of the feelings I had and the ways that he had and the misunderstanding that we had of each other. Like, I couldn't understand things that he would be doing and wanting to be talking about, even just as friends, and he couldn't understand why I couldn't understand. So eventually, I just disconnected and like had to block him. I felt like my emotions were too raw. Some wounds were too raw. Uh, I just wasn't being affected in a positive way in conversation with him or when seeing him. So I decided to um, stop talking to him, at least in a personal way. I still wanted to be cordial. We work in the same location. Um, but that had hurt his feelings real bad. So, but I had to do what I had to do for me. So eventually we just stopped talking altogether. Um, and that lasted for like 2 months. I tried to date other people. I went out on some dates. They went terribly. And then I tried to talk to this one guy who we were doing music together. Um, Unfortunately, him and my ex had real beef that I guess I wasn't completely aware of from the start, but it became more clear as me and that guy began to talk more and more. We never ended up in a relationship, but we were very clear that we were trying to see if that's where we could get. And then eventually, um, I did what I do, which is, I get very real about my need for clarity. What is going on? What are we doing? Where are we going? What are your hopes, your dreams, your visions? What am I getting myself into? Most of the time when I spark those type of conversations or try to have those conversations, things don't go well. So push come to shove, that wasn't going so well with that conversation. Um, but by then, my ex had found out about me and this guy. Apparently, really hurt his feelings, and I cared. I tried to act like I didn't care, but then when I would be like alone with my thoughts at night, alone with my feelings and thoughts at night, I cared a lot. I would cry. And I started crying for missing him because I had gotten this resentment built up towards him because of things. And then the way I explain it is that resentment started to melt. And I started to feel for my ex again and wanting him in my life again. And it's just so crazy because I could cry about it right now. Like, this is a person who I love for real, care about deeply. I have curated a connection with him. I should probably continue telling the story so that the emotions can make sense to y'all. But so me and the other guy eventually, like, we started kind of fading out on the conversation a little bit because I was just making it clear where I was coming from, and then really, like, it just became more and more clear that we were not a good match. Um, and it was just crazy because I was secretly wanting to talk to my ex. I was secretly wanting to reconnect. By this point, it was about 2 months, and I hadn't completely fully like gotten into a relationship with anybody else. I hadn't been intimate with anybody else. Um, Anybody I tried to talk to, go on a date with, it ended really fast, very clearly for me. Uh, so then one day at work, this is like 2 days after me and that guy that I was talking to, who I do music with, was doing music with. 2 days after our conversation, where I'm like, okay, I think we should probably like cease the journey of trying to figure out if we are going to be more than just friends or whatever. 2 days after that, my ex finds me at work and presents me with a gift. And to be honest, I had a hint about the gift because the other guy who did not like my ex at all, and vice versa, um, told me that my ex had asked him. It was just a kind of a crazy situation. So my ex brings me the gifts, and I'm touched and moved because we haven't communicated in like 2 months, and I was missing him, wanting to talk to him, just wanting him in my life for real. And then he comes with the gift, and so I unblock him and I thank him, and then we continue talking, moving forward from there. And we got back to like seeing each other and stuff, but not dating, like not being boyfriend, girlfriend. And so it's just really crazy because the day he brought me the gift was the same day as the birthday of a very serious ex, former person who used to be very, very dear to my life, but also was a huge teacher for me in terms of having a relationship with him, because he is a bona fide narcissist. And I had like a 12-year on and off situation with that guy. Anyway, his birthday was on the same day that my ex decided to bring me the gift at work. I thought that was very interesting. So I'll never forget the day because that was my ex's birthday. So to this day, sometimes I'm doubting if this is my twin flame, but then the emotions speak, the signs speak, the memories of different synchronicities, which I've experienced synchronicities with other guys, yes, in the past, but things have just been different with this person. Because of this person, I believe I am no longer a runner. Like a emotional track star, or even physical, like I could take off. So because of this guy, I have decided to hang up my track shoes. And that was really because I didn't want to run away from him, even though I wasn't getting what I wanted with him, which was and has been serious relationship, because I don't want gray areas, right? Like I want clarity. I want to be somebody's one and only for real. Unfortunately, he made it clear he wasn't ready for that. Fortunately and unfortunately, though. Fortunately, because he's not trying to act like he's ready, which I do believe happened in the past when we started dating and he wasn't really ready. He might say different, but I think he wasn't ready. And so this time he's like, I'm not ready, but let's tend to our bond. So I'm down for that, because obviously I'm hurting. Like I want him in my life. Like, but does that mean I have to have him as a boyfriend in my life or no? So I decided no, not right away. But I got dreams and goals and hopes and wishes for myself as a woman, including motherhood, marriage. This is all what's going on during this time of our reconnection. So since like the beginning of December, so all of December, January, now we're mid-February. So about 2 months now. It feels much longer, I'll be honest. So anyway, so we've been, working on our bond and stuff, and so what I've been able to notice is like a purpose of deep healing, at the very least on my end. I do feel it's also for his end as well. It's just not as expressed from his side, but I express like everything. So I know, and I've let him know that I do feel like, I felt multiple occasions where there's a trigger I have, and I feel like I need to run, and really like, even though I said I don't want to run, I also feel like I can't run. Like it won't even lead to nothing good. It won't do nothing good for me. I don't want to disconnect from him. Can't have what I want right now, but don't want to disconnect from him also. So we spent a lot of time together. And then we went on a trip for his birthday. And we came back. But before we went on the trip, we decided, like in conversation, that we would be slowing things down once we get back in terms of like how we spend time together. So even though we're not like sexually active, like there are times where we do something, and or very often, or almost every time we hang out, like we fall asleep, like cuddling and stuff, and that really speaks to my heart for real. Like that's when I really feel his energy at the most purest, and it feels so good. So that means a lot to me. So before we left for the trip, I forget what the conversation full on was about, but we did decide like we would need to slow things down. Then if we're not going to be getting into a relationship, then the laying together, sleeping together, even though we're not having sex, like that's gonna have to slow down because my heart is very vulnerable with that stuff. So, and sensitive. So, just again trying to figure out how to be real friends for real, and not just not have each other in each other's lives or whatever. So I have to be honest, like he's been the main driver of that. So sometimes it's a little untrustworthy, right? Because I'm like, well, do you want your cake and eat it too? But he is a different type of person, so I'm not always all the way sure. But it kind of all don't really matter because I did have to come to a realization, just like, well, what do I want for myself for real, right? Because we went out of town, and I mean, throughout the airport, you would think like we're a couple because of the way we operate together and stuff, but we're not. So that's the thing, and I was introduced to his friends who was like his family. And, of course, me and him shared a room and a bed and all that. So it's like this appearance of we look like we're together, but we're not. And so I can't, I had to really just get real with myself. I can't operate this way. Like, not in public, not, and then turn around and you entertaining other women. And when I'm around, you want me in this way, but I want you in this way all the time, not just when you're around. So my intuition took over one night and was like, fuck this shit, internet, you're going to get this straight. So eventually I ended up on the social media. I found something where it was like during our reconnection, actually a month after our reconnection, there was some stuff on his Twitter that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So I had to decide that in the past I would have kept that type of information to myself and maybe just like found a way out of the connection. But instead I just presented it to him full on. I had been triggered by something again. One of the things I don't like about connection and communicating with people is like, say if I call and then you don't answer, but you'll text me back, but then you still don't call, like at all. Not even a little later, not even text me that I'm gonna call you back. I don't like that. And so to me that typically means like you're hiding something. So but again, we're not together. So I just had to get, I had to bring the clarity because I was getting some clarity, but only to an extent and not really for real all of the clarity that I wanted and need. So I presented all the information to him and let him know, like, man, I don't really like seeing stuff like this, like for real. I know we're not together. We weren't together at this time, but still, like, it don't make me feel good. So, I just let him know, like, we're right on track with dialing things back and slowing things down because this is something that wouldn't really sit well with me, and I just let him know. And we had a little light back and forth, just a little bit, but I decided like I wasn't gonna get emotional about it as far as like expressing emotion to him about it, because I'm not your girl, and you're free to do whatever you want on your social media. It is my responsibility to handle myself in response, not not whoever's doing what they're doing for them to turn around and handle me the way I want them to handle me. It's my job to handle me if I feel a way about something. So I decided to handle me. And I was like, okay, well, fine. We are setting boundaries for real this time, because we kept trying before. Setting boundaries, still boundaries, enforcing them, starting right away. Like, because yes, there would be some kissing, there would be some hugging and laying up together. And so even not having sex, still very intimate, right? Still very intimate. So I said, we're not doing that. I'm not your girl. I can't be nourishing and nurturing feelings of me being your girl when I'm not your girl. I'm not your woman. But is it possible that that he is my twin flame? I still feel that way, because I am healing by leaps and bounds while being connected to this person. And it's kind of crazy. Like, for real. Like, learning how to communicate while emotional, learning how to still listen while emotional or hurt in order to reach resolution, learning how to stay put and not take flight when feeling disappointed or hurt or angry, learning that could be just a different way to do this connection, which, yeah, that it could be a different way to do this connection. And maybe, and really another big part, surrender and control of the situation. For real, I've had to do that, and that's been a big lesson for me in learning how to do that. Like, so with all that, me and him are so far this week a lot less communicative than before, which is fine. It's okay, because I feel like I have to do what I have to do, and then he has to do what he has to do. So whatever it is he wants to do, how he wants to communicate, how he wants to move forward, blah, blah, blah. But unfortunately, I've gone back onto the social media just to check to see if anything else came across my path of, that I need to know about. So what I had found before, it was like, oh, that stuff is old, kind of, not really, like a month old. But that's not old enough for me. But then I go back on today and I see more fresh stuff that really, it's not new, but I didn't see it before. So that kind of just helped for me to double down on like where I'm going to be at in my heart regarding this relationship. Like, I have to have information in order to help me make a decision for myself. I have to have factual information. So, with that, when me and him decided initially that we were going to be enforcing our boundaries and stuff, which is, it was really cool, because I had to go do his hair, and I was still able to go ahead and do his hair. And I mean, granted, we had a little bit of herbal help, but it was all still cool. Like, we were able to be in each other's presence. We were able to communicate a little bit. But it's funny, because it almost feels like there was something that came across my mind when we were in Colorado, where I had like, first of all, I was like high the whole time. But so I had like kind of began to feel like we have different times when we're different things to each other. Like, there are times where he felt like a brother to me. There are times where he's felt more a little bit more fatherly. There's been times when he's felt, honestly, there's times when even he feels to me to be more feminine and I'm more masculine, and then of course the vice versa. So it's like, and then of course there's times when I feel like I'm being more motherly or more sisterly, or, and it's kind of crazy for real. I think that's like a beautiful situation to be able to have that. So even when we were together the last time in person together, after I did his hair, like, I wasn't planning to stay the night, right? Because usually we stay the night. Stay the night, we all hugged up and stuff, and that's not what we doing no more. So it was just really funny because I had gotten hot and I wasn't about to drive, and we were watching our show that we'd be watching together. And eventually it got dark. You know, it got a little late. I'm a little high, and then I'm falling asleep. He falling asleep. So we fell asleep both on the couch, but not laying together. So I was like laying one way, he's laying the other direction, and you know, we did it. And it was like, I don't think I've never done that before with somebody. I can't remember, but to me, that was really, really cool, right? Like, it was cool, even though I'm processing some hurt, kind of, you know, some disappointment, because I mean, technically, I've been waiting on this guy, and like I said, it feels like it's been longer than 2 months for me. But so what happens is, right, I reached back out to this person who had shown interest in me like sometime recently, and I really just kind of sort of blew him off because I was so enmeshed emotionally and mentally with my twin flame, right? So poor guy, I couldn't even like give him a chance for real, because when I start talking, I just want to talk about this person, and it's very tactless, but I ain't claiming to have much tact. Like, I just, whatever could come out came out, and what I didn't want to, anything that I didn't want to talk about was just like making me woozy. So he would be wanting to talk about something, I'm like, oh, that's really kind of boring. But let me tell you about my situation. So we had kind of paused on things. So I reached back out to him because I wasn't sure. I'm like, okay, this could be me and so are twin flames, but doesn't necessarily mean that we're gonna be in union. All right, and I've been really trying to embrace that fact. And what's funny is that same day that I brought that information to him, after seeing his Twitter, I kept on seeing these videos pop up on my feed that was saying, remember the purpose of your union, the purpose of twin flame union. Like, I saw more than one video on my feed that day with that title, and I'm like, so there's always signs that's kind of still telling me like, he is your twin flame, but it does not necessarily mean that you guys are going to have romantic union granted right away or even in this lifetime. But to even be able to recognize, appreciate, and nourish a bond might be top tier lesson right now, for real. Like, top tier lesson, because he got ways that I'm like, I don't even want you as a boyfriend no more, man. Like, for real, like, I want you at your, and I know this is bad. You can't accept nobody at their worst. You don't want them at their best. But listen, I'm talking about you actively commenting other females, complimenting, all that stuff on social media, and I don't like no, like, that's not what I'm gonna deal with. So if that's a part of your words, then yeah, sorry, I can't have you that way, in a romantic way, while you doing stuff like that. Not gonna happen. But can we be friends, like, and be there for each other? It's crazy because I don't know. Sometimes I want to say in the past I never would have been able to da 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 da, but then something tells me, like, Anthony, that's not true. You've offered to be friends with exes before, when you had to break up with them and then they didn't want to be friends. But I don't know. So I'm just gonna say, like, yeah, he has practices and tendencies and ways that I will not tolerate as a girlfriend. So it's cool, but you know, I love him for real. Like, I care about him for real. So um at the same time, also being in contact with him and connection and communication and having a bond that we actually do tend to nourish. Like, it's been through this connection that I've gotten back into my self-love stuff. And you know, it's funny because I've never actually had someone who I love and care about who's encouraging me to do self-love, like to love myself and like take care, you know, tend to me, um tend to myself, um while dealing with him. And I think that's a very important lesson because I'm the type to lose myself in my relationship, you know. So I think everything's been happening for a reason. So anyway, with me disconnecting from him in that extra type of way, not in a full type of way, but just that extra type of way, I was like, well, if we're not gonna be in a relationship, I do want relationship. I do want, like, this is where I'm at, like, a few days ago. I do want relationship. I want to be treated, you know, and I want somebody to like build with. So there was this guy that crossed my path not too long ago. I did tell my twin flame about him. I also told him about my twin flame. But so we haven't been in contact for maybe a couple of weeks, few weeks. So I did hit him up just to see like what's there. And so he wanted to like link up and stuff and hang out and get to know each other because he's on some serious journeying as well when it comes to romance and love and relationship. So we started making plans and stuff and talking and laughing and good vibes and stuff, right? Even though there were a couple of red flags before that I decided to kind of overlook. Making plans, and then eventually we hang out very briefly. He has a nice place where he lives, even though he doesn't own it. Kind of wanted to bring that to his attention. He wanted to act like he owned it, but he don't own it. He's renting. Very nice rental though. He's attractive. He's my type, muscles, and he's my type in a default type of situation. Because it's funny because he does not look like my twin flame at all, but he does remind me of a past serious ex. So good conversation, cool vibes, everything like that, chilling. Eventually I leave, go home. So we have plans coming up later in the week, right? Next day he wants to hang out again. I'm like, I want to see you, but I'm like thinking we could wait till Friday, right? He didn't like that. So first I'm like, I'm thinking we could wait till Friday because I mean it's just a couple of days away, really, for real. And for me to get up and just go and see him again because he asked me to, like, that's very reminiscent of how I've been in the past. Literally, like, dude calls, want me, I'm coming, you know, unless I'm mad or in my feelings or something. But even still, I might get out of my feelings and still come. So I had just listened to like a tarot reading that was telling me like maintain your boundaries, like watch your boundaries, like this is a great guy coming your way, emotion, king of cups, da, 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 but keep your boundaries intact. So one of my boundaries is basically like that I'm really wanting to be better at now. And I was choosing that moment to enforce that, which was, I'm not available. I want to see you. And I think that's where a lot of people get really confused. Like, I know there's a huge difference between want and needs. I get confused when other people express not realizing the difference, because I'm like, well, I want to see you, yes, but I'm just like, I mean, at the time I'm in the bed, I'm gonna have to go to work later, like, and we're not a couple, and I'm not trying to keep on having situationships with people. Like, we're supposed to be dating to get to know each other. Like, I already kind of like stepped over the thought of, oh, maybe we should wait till the date to hang out, and went to go see him. So my thing is, well, we could just wait till Friday. But so it's funny because he asked me like, well, you got any plans or whatever? He said something like he's fiending for my touch and my hug or whatever. And I'm like, okay. But we're gonna hang out on Friday and Sunday. Like, we have plans for kind of back to back. So I'm like, I tell him like, well, I want to see you, but I'm thinking, I'm not sure. Da, da, da. And he basically says like, oh, I said something like, oh, because he's in the sad phase. I'm like, oh, why the sad phase? He's like, oh, just being a big baby. I'm like, you don't want to wait till Friday. And he's like, whatever you say, I'm with it. So then that's when I said, well, I want to see you. And, I said something like, don't really want to wait, but then again, I also do want to wait. So I'm not thinking we could wait till Friday. So he gets irritated and expresses his irritation. And he's all like, I feel like you're playing mind games with me. And I'm like, here we go. He's a Cancer, by the way. Sorry, no shade, but shade. Fuck that. Because, I be having problems with the Cancers. So he kind of writes out a lengthy text and is like, he included that he feel like I'm playing mind games with him. Like that's the last thing I'm doing. But one thing that I do, I share my thought process with people, which I think a lot of times they don't get. Like, I will speak my thoughts to you as I'm thinking them, right? So now I literally told him, I said, I'm thinking, and then I'm like, well, I want to see you, well, I want to wait, but I don't want to wait, or whatever. But then I say like, well, we can just wait. I think we can wait till Friday. Like, it's a few days. It's not even a week. And you've already done like your shift swap for your schedule just to make sure that we could do whatever you got planned, only to get so irritated when I basically don't tell you what you want to hear, that you basically about to shut everything down. For me, that's a flag. That's a flag on the play. That's a flag. And it aligned, unfortunately, with a time before where he wanted me to come meet him for lunch break at work. Mind you, it wasn't planned in advance. I have a very busy job. I don't even always get a break. So he's already at break, and break is not long. And he asked me if I can join him, but it's already started. And I told him like, oh, I'm sorry, like I rarely get a break. I'm definitely not about to get a break right now. If I do, it'll have to be later. So he did express irritation about that. Not via text that day, but it was after that he kind of like stopped talking to me. But he brought it up when I visited him. Like, he had brought it up. So it was like, okay, you're still not understanding. Like, it wasn't a rejection. You hit me up at the moment and I'm working. Like, I'm not about to just step away from the desk because somebody who's interested in me, you're not my husband, I'm not about to do that. So I kind of had to put all that together. Like, after he texted me the way he texted me, saying that I'm playing mind games with him, and one minute I want to see him, one minute I don't. And I had mentioned something about going slow and steady. He said slow and steady ain't got nothing to do with him wanting to see me. I said, yes, it does. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's when we make connection, when we're seeing each other. Like, what do you mean it ain't got nothing to do with that? Yes, it do. So I can't even go into detail because after that there was a lot said, and I was just getting more and more mad as I was texting. And I'm like, you're the one who said that you were gonna be gentle and go slow. Like, we already had that conversation last week. We're applying it. We can apply it now, but now you don't want to. So red flags all over the place. And I think he tried to just have us just let it go, but I wasn't having that because that kind of just showed me it showed me enough. Like, I'm straight. So, but I still want to kind of like talk to him, like, to see, like, do you understand the issue here? Like, why? Like, I want to have a conversation. That's the type of person I am. He actually went so far as to say in the text message something eventually about, don't hit me up again. Because I guess he realized I had an attitude, but I'm like, but you caught the attitude first. So yeah, I got an attitude, It's just some immature shit. So, unfortunately, because when the fact that he said, don't hit me up no more, like, that got me like, got it, bro. You ain't ever gotta worry about that. But a part of me is like, fuck. Like, he's kind of fine. Like, his hugs felt good. Kind of playful. We had a conversation. But I mean, there were flags. There were flags. And so that was one of them, because to me, it's like, if you ever get so conclusive via text like that, and I'm sorry, but as a man, I'm gonna have to peace out. So currently, we are not talking. Something tells me he could possibly end up coming to the desk at work and trying to like do something. But here's where I am now. So I had to share all that to say this. Cause listen, I just turned 33 years old less than a month ago. And I'm a very spiritual person. I've had some very spiritual things happen to me throughout my life, starting at a very young age. I always felt like I have purpose attached to my life. Supposed to be doing something that's like a spiritual calling, a spiritual purpose. On top of that, I'm a highly sensitive person. I'm an empath, which means like I get drained of my energy more than I am able to generate energy from others. So with that, I don't do well with the social obligations that require my energy. It's another reason why I believe that me and my twin flame are twin flames, because we don't drain each other. Like, he doesn't drain me. And it's really rare that that happens for me with a person. Like, I actually, like, we don't drain each other. And that was something we realized way back when. Like, we don't drain each other. He don't drain me. I get lively. Like, I don't know. Anyway, um, yeah, saying. So yeah, I can get very easily drained by people, especially emotionally needy people. And unfortunately, cancers be having that as a thing. Whew. Now, I'm not a non-emotional person. I'm an emotional person, but I don't think I'm emotionally needy. I don't know. But anyway, so all that happens, right? So now I'm like very irritated and like, I thought I could like have fun with somebody else, go out on some dates, something, whatever. Okay, so then I wake up and spirit is in my head, in my ear. And basically the calling is becoming clear of like my life's calling. I'm not meant to be out here hand in hand walking with somebody as their girlfriend. Nope. Waiting, depending, relying on somebody else because he's a man and I'm not. Nope. There are distractions that are very real for myself, mainly being guys and like relationships, um, and the want for relationships and stuff, and like the institutions that's been set up that I'm supposed to be pursuing as a citizen. Distractions. There was a video I made a couple of videos back and I was talking about distractions, and it's funny because I was being distracted by my twin flame. But the video was saying get rid of the distractions. So now as I like meditate on that, I get distractions from my purpose, my spiritual purpose. And that's another reason why I feel like the guy I've identified as my twin flame is my twin flame, because through that relationship, I've become much more clear about my life purpose. And a twin flame relationship is not just for the sake of the two people, but it's for the sake of the purpose of each of you as individuals that you each have in life. So in mine, like, yeah, I'm realizing that, and I've realized this before, and now it's coming again much more clear. I have a calling of shamanism on my life for real, which the way I'm understanding it is healing. It's like natural healing. And it just makes sense because, like I said, I just turned 33 and I've been expecting something potent to occur this year with me turning 33 and also having a personal year of 11, master number, a master year. So as a shaman, I am to prioritize energetic healing. Healing on a energetic level for the sake of that healing being realized on a physical level. So that was with my painting. Me doing the painting today was bringing that into just like scripted fruition. So spirit was able to lead me to paint out the word shaman. And then I think for the purpose of directing me in my shamanism, letting me know what would be needed and necessary and required for my call to duty. So with that, I wrote out the word shaman. S is for single. Now you see why I had to tell you all the background. Because at 33, look, I've dated a lot. I've had a lot of boyfriends in the past. I've had guys who weren't my boyfriends and just, buddies. Shoot, I actually identify as bisexual for real. I've had a girlfriend. So I've done a lot of relating, a lot of relationship for real. And I've tried. And I'm very pure-hearted with these situations. So I've been very confused, like, why isn't anything working for me? And I do feel now that it has a lot to do because of my calling. As a shaman, I have to be single. H stands for heart-led. All about the heart. Less about the mind. Less about the mind leading. The heart leads. A stands for authentic. So I have to tell the truth. I gotta tell the truth. I gotta be myself. And I think a part of the issue with relationship is that starts to get in the way of that. At least for me. M, magical. So not being afraid to get witchy. If you don't like the sound of that, it's totally fine. You can go ahead. But for real, like, I already know my life is magical. My life is very magical. Like, things that I see, I hear, I feel, things that happen, things I experience. Like, so embracing my magic. A is artistic. The other A, artistic. So like now I'm painting. Typically I'm very lyrically artistic, but I've been getting pulled towards doing something much more solo. Usually when I do music, I'm working with people. I've been wanting to do something that I can do by myself. And then N is natural. So that's the part about shamanism. It's like natural healing. So that's where I'm at now. And so it's very interesting because I wanted to share all that background because it's not a game. I've been trying to make something work in regards to relationship and love and partnership, and I'm 33, so still young, but it's just like as much work as I've done, you would think I'd be locked in with somebody by now. But so then I guess my mental demons, right, they start to mess with me. Like, what's wrong with me? Like even in terms of that guy, like shutting things down so fast, like, do you not realize like there's value to this? Like you don't have to shut things down so fast. Like, we can communicate. But guess where I learned that from? My twin flame, dealing with him. Like, we can resolve things, but not everybody's that way. So, and at the same time, again, me and my twin flames, we're individuals. We're not the same person. We might be the same soul, but we're not the same person. So we're like the same soul, but on two different journeys. So, like I said, he does things that I do not do. He has interests that I do not have. He has ways that I do not condone. So for me to love somebody so hard. Like, I love him. Y'all saw the tears. Like, one day I'll talk more about that now that I realize how deep it is. Even now, knowing everything that I know and having the distance that we are now having, and I still feel what I feel for him. Not gonna, because of my feelings, right, just accept whatever and accept things that I don't want to accept, but I'll accept and embrace that I still love him. But now I realize there's a reason for that. So if you're a twin flame, you're on a twin flame journey, it is not just more than likely about y'all's relationship, but it's about the fact that you have something attached to your life, a calling attached as one of those twin flames in this dynamic. That means there's something more to your life. So that's where I'm at today. And the other thing that made this very special, like a special message for me, is that when I add up the numbers of the day, the date, I get 6. 6 is the number of the nope, that's not right. I put solar plexus, but that is not right. 6 would be the third eye. Well, that could work. I definitely wrote solar plexus though, like identity. But that would be third eye. That still works. It's like clarity. Yeah. I'm really writing with my left hand. Like, I know how to do that. But yeah, clarity. Seeing things more clearly. That works. But I had wrote solar plexus for whatever reason. But that's where I'm at, y'all. That's today's share. I'm gonna see if I can rest a little bit more before I have to get up for work. But that's where I'm at. I'll be sharing more about my introduction to my journey of shamanism. Because, like I said, this isn't the first time it's come to me. It's just the most clearest that it's come. It came to me a year ago when I first was driving across the country, changing my life for a new start, following my heart, letting my heart lead me. It led me straight to a neighborhood called Love. Like, that's crazy. So, this heart-led part of shamanism, for me, also being single, yes, because when I'm not single, I mean, I don't even have to not be single. If I was a mom, if I had a pet, if I had a boyfriend, a husband, if I had a roommate, like, I have this tendency to take care of people and others and look after others. And I really realized a few years ago, like, my energy ain't really set up for that right now in life. And I'm thinking maybe things are changing now this year so I can start dreaming the dream again. And then I get this. Nah, girl, you need to be working on your shamanism. And what I get when I really get quiet on the inside, I hear that I actually come from a bloodline of shamans. Now that I've never gotten before, but I get that now. Like, bloodline of shamans. And even more, I get that it was like a particular bloodline of shamans and shamanism that was targeted. Kind of like witch trials type thing. Because of the power of my bloodline. And what's crazy about that is I think about my bio mom and bio brother and how they're both in prison under very similar cases. And like, my whole family is like just kind of doesn't exist as a unit. And I really had to separate myself. Like, even though the whole shaman thing came to me now about a year ago, when I was driving, I don't think yet I was ready to embrace it because, one, I was still in therapy. Wasn't taking medication, but was still in therapy. Two, I was still very connected with my family and my relatives who I don't largely relate to. It's been months since I've been in therapy, since I've talked to those certain family members. And here I am now, after reconnecting with my twin flame and doing like a double check with this guy. And now I'm on February 15th, very clear in the calling on my life and the requirements for myself in order to answer the call and embrace it. It's too real. It's too real. So that's all for now, folks. I'm gonna tend to myself because I have work this evening. And I appreciate y'all for listening, checking me out. And till next time, bye.